What is up, Stafford Tigers Musical Mania? This is scene, I don't know. But yeah, today we're going to be talking about not only a very special album, but a very, very special man. He's my biggest male influence ever. I don't have a picture of him back here because, well, I don't know if they exist or not, but I haven't found one yet. But when I do, I'll be sure to cop that. So we're going to be talking about the great You Are Usher Raymond. I was trying to be fancy, but we're going to be talking about his groundbreaking project, Confessions, right here. Amazing, right? So this actually just came in the mail a couple of days ago. I ordered it one night and I got it like the next afternoon, which I think is pretty awesome because I didn't have to wait long. Because I got a package at the door and I didn't expect it to come that soon, and then it didn't come in a familiar box. I was afraid to open it because I was like, you get a package and you don't remember ordering anything. You're like, okay, this can't be what I just ordered last night. But it was this lovely thing right here. Mm-hmm. So I love Usher so much. He's like my biggest male influence. I've been watching him since I was like maybe 2 or 3 years old when he did My Way, and then he was on Moesha, and then he went from My Way to my favorite album. First of all, let me tell y'all something. Confessions, that wasn't my favorite album. I love it. I have it obviously, but my favorite album was actually 8701 because it's more nostalgic for me. I think it's just a really really dope project, and honestly, I feel like it should have sold and did as well as Confessions. It did very well, because back then y'all still bought music, but we didn't have streaming yet anyway. Our only choice was to buy because the iTunes store hadn't even opened yet. But our only choice was cassette or CD or whatever. But yeah, it did pretty well. But that's 8701 is my favorite album. So we're gonna be talking about Confessions today. Let me just before I dive deep all up in it, I'm gonna show y'all my Confessions collection. So I just showed you the vinyl. So this is a CD which I've been had. This is a special edition. Yeah. So we got that. And then I have this is the first single. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And then this song actually wasn't on the album, but it was in that era. This is Lovers and Friends. Tell me. Yeah. And then this is the Called Up short film, my favorite song on the album and one of my all-time favorite songs by Usher, Called Up. And this is a short film, and then it's actually some extra songs on here, like some B-sides or something like that. So I thought that was cool. This is a double single, Confessions and My Boo with Alicia Keys. And then for the last one, this is the Truth Tour. This is the Confession. This is the tour the promotional world tour he did for Confessions, and this is the complete edition. This is like the whole this is like the whole thing. It's like 3 discs up in here. So yeah, Usher is somebody I have honestly honored and adored my whole life, and I will always always honor his legacy because I just love what he's done. I love how Usher carries himself. He's very very like he's very me being someone that didn't grow up like with a bunch of like masculine energy around me. I just watched all of the guys on TV because I always knew I wanted to be in entertainment. I always knew I wanted to be actually I wanted to be an actor first, not a singer. But I wanted to when I realized this is what I wanted to do was be in show business, I would just watch these amazing men and how they carry themselves and how they dance. And then that was how I learned to kind of fall into my own masculinity and just find my own voice and just find my own flavor. So anyway, enough about me. Back to Usher. So real quickly, I don't know if y'all noticed, but Burn actually was supposed to be the first single off Confessions. It was not supposed to be Yeah. But Yeah came into play because Lil Jon get low, get low, get low. Yeah. No, I called it in my head because that was on y'all. I don't know. Y'all that weren't born before like 2003. Y'all don't know anything about that. But that was like a really, really, really like heavy rotation on the radio. So I just copped it in my head real quickly. But anyway, so Lil Jon, I believe he leaked Yeah to the clubs. The streets went crazy. So Usher's team originally had Burn in mind, and Burn would have been a good lead single, but Yeah ended up being the first single, and it's not only one of his biggest songs, but it's his highest selling single. You don't believe me? Look it up. Okay, Usher is amazing. So I don't want this to be a video just about numbers and breaking records. We all know Confessions is diamond. We all know Confessions is dope. We all know Confessions. He celebrated the 20th anniversary last year, and then also last year was his 30th anniversary, which is when he did the Super Bowl. So the stars just aligned for him, and I did not expect for him to do caught up at the Super Bowl, y'all. That was the opening number because excuse me, it was the only single off Confessions not to go to number one, and I think it was the last single. But hey, it hit the top 10 and it still went platinum. So hey, but yeah, Caught Up was my favorite song, and I hate it didn't go to number one because had it went to number one, all the songs that were released from Confessions would have went to number one. And I don't know if y'all saw the BET Awards last year or saw the clip, but I loved the segment of Bad Girl with Tayana and Victoria Monet, two very talented ladies who were not done fairly by the industry, in my opinion. Yeah, they deserve better. I'm just saying, that's just my opinion. But they did Bad Girl and they did an amazing job. I love how they did that flip with the camera and stuff. That was completely dope. But Confessions, I don't remember where I was the first time I heard a song from Confessions, which obviously would be Yeah, because it was the lead single. But I do know I was at summer camp, my first and last summer at summer camp. Don't ask why. I just know I ain't going back. You know, yeah, it was a tragedy. I would rather stay at Crystal Lake fighting for my life than to go back to that camp. It was hell. The field trips, I hated the way the bus smelled, everything. It was crazy. It was like, oh my gosh, Mama, do not take me back to summer camp ever, okay? Because I'm very adventurous, and she was like, once I pay those fees, you have to go. I said, I'll go. I came back traumatized, never again. I started third grade. My first week of third grade, I was sitting there like this. What a summer. Anyway, Confessions was they used to play it all the time on the radio, and I have a lot of nostalgia from Confessions because I remember just playing in my, this may sound weird, y'all, but I just remember playing like in my grandma's backyard with my cousins who were like my brothers and sisters because we were so close growing up. My cousin actually just texted me a few minutes ago. Y'all see how my brain just have all these tabs open. Anyway, yeah, I remember us playing outside. I remember us watching BET. I remember watching him perform, and I knew I already knew I wanted to be entertained, but when I would see Usher perform, that's how I knew like you was meant to do this. I started, I got into music lessons and all this stuff or whatever, but I wasn't really sure what Confessions was gonna do when it first came out because I saw the beauty in it, but the hearsay that I was hearing around, it seemed like it was kind of a slow burn at certain parts. And I could be wrong, but just what I was hearing like in the streets around that time and just word of mouth, because the songs were on the radio, but I remember some of the ladies, they just weren't really impressed with Confessions at first. But I think that Confessions grew to be one of those projects that people really, really celebrated in the long run. One thing I learned about artistry is sometimes when you make a record, it's kind of a slow burn. Like, you can make an album and like soon as it hit the shelf, soon as it comes out, it's like boom. And then sometimes it's a slow rise. But I'm just really, really glad that people grew to like Confessions and not only like it, but to revisit it years later because for it to be such a big album, it seems like, it had like its time, and then it just seemed like for a while people didn't really talk about it. And then when the 20-year anniversary came last year, and then he had his past, present, and future tour that he was launching, everything just really aligned. And if Usher ever, he is gonna see this. I already know. I don't know if this is gonna be before, after I get into the industry, but he will see this, and I want him to know that I am damn proud of you, Father. I can't call you brother because you like a generation above me. I just say musical. He's like a musical father to me. So like, you know, that's my thing, y'all. It's like all of my biggest like male influences, like Usher, he's the father, and then like Chris Brown, he's like the brother, and then Neil is like the uncle, and then Babyface is like the great uncle. That's kind of how I had them lined up. So I'm gonna repeat that again. I'm put that on TikTok. That's actually really cool what I just said. But um, he's just amazing. He really is. Confessions wasn't The album, it wasn't just an R&B album. I feel like Confessions was like a therapy session. It was a therapy session. It was a love album. It was a confession album. It was all of that in one. It wasn't just an album. It was like it was an event. Like the way that TRL did things, the way BT did things, the way that everything was set up was just like incredible. I think that the Confessions album basically said what a lot of guys want to say to women, but don't know how to say or afraid to say because it addresses like cheating, it addresses lust, it addresses lying, but it also addresses a lot of positive things too. It's basically like it's an array of the heart of a man, the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between. And we don't have a lot of men that are a lot of male artists that make albums that are um that are that raw and that honest. Because even looking at the when I was looking at the artwork in the booklet, I remember I think he had like 7 confessions. And this is the funny thing about it, y'all. I swear my life always happens in sevens. Seven is like it goes all the way up to the 7th confession. The last one says, "Whatever you do in the darkness will eventually come to light." So it's kind of haunting, I would say, because that guy out there that was a Usher fan or that went to concerts, that guy out there that knows that he's cheating or that he ain't all the way honest, he ain't doing right, and then he listens to this CD or he goes and he was to read the artwork, the booklet. It's like, yeah, man, you need to get it together. That's what I did love about this record. Now, I will say this: when I was a kid when this came out, I wasn't even I had to be about 8 or 9 years old, so I didn't all the way understand the songs, but I just liked the music. I loved how Usher sung. I loved how he danced. I loved how he dressed. I liked how his music videos looked. But when I got older and I actually went back and listened to the record, I was like, dang, this was an honest, raw love letter to the ladies from the fellas. Like this is pretty awesome. Now I know why it sold 10 million units in the US alone and went dominant, by the way. But now I know why this sold so well. And y'all know that when they went into record Confessions, actually him, it was Brian Michael Cox, one of the best producers ever. I'm gonna do a video about him too one day. But Brian Michael and Jermaine Dupri, all three of them were in relationships. So what they were doing was they were just sitting around talking, and I guess they were talking about all their past experiences with women and different things they had went through. So that was basically how Confessions had came about. Because it's like, well, hey, why don't we just make a record about about relationships? It wasn't Usher didn't go in like I want to make the biggest album ever. This is going to be amazing. That wasn't what it was. They just went in like they were just doing a regular album, and it turned out to be what it was. You never know at the end of the day, people. You never know. The song Burn, which was going to be the first single, as I said earlier, it wasn't just a song about, it wasn't just a R&B, just smooth song that made you feel good and bad at the same time. Bad in a good way, not bad because it sounds amazing. So of course you're gonna feel good. But it was kind of for me, I think, a warning about toxic relationships and how how you need to know when it's time to walk away and it's time to let go. Like let it burn. Like listen to the lyrics. It's raw, I tell you. But you gotta really listen. You like the song, but you gotta listen and like feel what he's saying. But one thing I will say is Confessions was completely raw and it had both men, women, and hell, even probably kids all choked up walking around like, I need to confess, I stole candy out the candy dish last night. My parents don't know. I need to confess to him that I didn't cook the meal last night. It was actually takeout. You know, Confessions had us all like in a chokehold. And I think that it was really like a groundbreaking experience for R&B. It was a cultural moment and it was a cultural reset. And one thing I don't know for sure, he may have talked about this, or maybe I just haven't came across it yet. But I wonder what kind of pressure that Usher put himself under for like his next project, because his next project was Here I Stand, and I remember when Here I Stand it came out because Okay, I don't remember when Here I Stand came out exactly, but I remember loving this club. But I remember I was so excited to get the next project from Usher, and it just seemed like year after year was going by, and there was no new album. And I was like, I wonder if he's trying to top Confessions, or I wonder like, is he under a lot of pressure? I always wondered that about him, like what was on his heart. One thing I will say about Usher that I love so much is each of his albums is an evolution. If you look at his very first project, which was self-titled, his 1994 album, and then you look at My Way, and then 8701, which was actually not supposed to be titled 8701. He changed the title. I forgot why, but he changed it to the release date, which was August 7th, 2001. So, yeah, I know, right? He's a genius. He's great. I love him to death. But each of his albums is like a step forward in manhood. How he started from here, and then I'm coming here, and then I'm here. So it's like, hey, I'm Usher. Now we're gonna do this my way. Then 8701, let's party. You getting all the ladies, and then you get caught up with all the ladies, and then you got to do your confessions. Then you go from confessing to Here I Stand. Then you went from Here I Stand to Raymond versus Raymond, meaning man against self, and his public divorce at the time, and so on. Because I think the next album was Looking for Myself, which was a 2012 album, and then it went from that to Hard to Love. He's just always evolving. And another thing about him that I really love is the fact that his vocal ability got better too. He sings better on each album than he did on the album before. Like, like that album, those pipes, the abdominal area, just everything. You hear those runs he do, amazing. So here we are 20 plus years later, and I will say that Confessions does still feel like a therapy session. It's one of those classic albums you can listen to. I was just listening to Confessions a few days ago when I took a shower. I came from home from the gym and I put the record on in the bathroom, and I think most of the record played while I was in there cleaning up and brushing my teeth and just getting ready for the day and washing my face, all of that stuff. And I mean, honestly, these songs, even though some of them, some may argue whether or not it has a dated sound, but whether it does or not, these songs are still fresh on this CD. These songs are still fresh, and it's still hot. It's still popping. So the thing is, it's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere, and Usher will always be Usher, and I can't wait to tell him to his face how amazing he is one day when I meet him, because I really do think he's a genius, and he's my biggest talent. I mean, my biggest talent influence. So, yeah. So, drop your thoughts and opinions about Confessions, how you feel about it. If you're a fan, or if there's what's your favorite song off of there, where you were the first time you heard it, or um, if you were born after it came out, where were you when you discovered the record? Let's keep the conversation going, because this is Usher that we're talking about. And don't forget, people, to go out into the world just like Usher, and don't be a moment, be a lifetime, okay? Because a lifetime lasts so much longer, all right? Just like Confessions. Confessions is going to be a lifetime.